Jared, how much heat can their defense bring with a guy like Trayvon Walker?
Yeah, they're good. They're really good up front. They've got good players all over the place. I think they're a very talented defense and are still putting things together. But we got a lot of respect for those players over there. We practiced against them a year or so ago, and seeing them up close and in person, they're a great team.
Some of these games is like trap games. You know, that you look at the team schedules. How do you, as the leader of this team, keep the guys motivated, locked in? Let's continue to handle our business in games that.
Yeah, we've got a mature group. There's not much that needs to be said. We have our own standards that, regardless of who we're playing, regardless of what their record is, we got our own things that we want to prove and improve on. And I think that's the biggest battle right now is us to continue to improve and know we need to improve, even though we're able to win some of these close games.
Jared, we talked to sharing your post-game conversation with him about being built different, right? Yeah. And you've been on some really good teams. You know, last year, some in LA. Have you been on one place like this? I don't know. If you want to put the aura of it.
Yeah, every team's different. I think my notion there was that the adversity we're built for is different than every other team in the league. And I think I said it after the game to the team, like it truly is. And there are a lot of good teams around the league, but it'd be hard pressed to find some who have been through what the core group of this team has been through. So in a game like that where you dig yourself in that big of a hole, knowing we're built for that and built to come back in those instances.
Jared, something we had talked to Scotty about is just getting David more into the passing game and opportunities, things that have led to that this year. What do you like about having him more available for that?
Yeah, he's got great hands. I think both those guys can do that. We throw it to Gibbs and him, and I thought the screen he caught the other day was a great play. But yeah, early on in the year we were able to hit him on a couple checkdowns, and he was able to make some plays happen. So anytime we get the ball in either of those two guys' hands, but certainly in David's, it's a good thing.
Is there a point, even when the interceptions started to fall, obviously they were tipped and there were things that happened, but when a team like this, you can recognize that there's nothing that's really going to stop you guys other than yourselves, with all due respect to other opponents? Is that kind of the feeling you had even on Sunday?
Yeah, I think so. And that's a really good team, Houston is. But yeah, I think we dug ourselves in about as big a hole as you can dig it and still have a chance to come back. And we knew when it was a 10-point game or whatever it was, 13-point game, we had a chance. We knew that. We knew it was a 2-score game, and felt good. We never really wavered, and I never wavered. I never lost confidence. Felt like I was seeing it well, but things didn't go our way for some of the day, and then that fourth quarter we kind of figured things out.
Anything you learned about yourself and you can grow from that performance?
Yeah, those ones are hard. Those ones make you a better quarterback. And I think back to the Chicago game last year, when things kind of aren't going your way and finding a way to win in the fourth quarter. And yeah, I feel like I became a better player through that and mentally tougher and the whole thing, yeah.
In that regard, once you won the game, is that almost helpful to have won it that way?
Yeah, sure. I think, I think it was a very adverse game, win or lose. But yeah, being able to learn lessons on the winning side of things is certainly a lot easier. But yeah, I think either way, there's a million things that we can improve on, that I can improve on, that we're going to have to improve on if we want to continue on the trend we're in.
It seems that you guys can do that on the fly.
I don't know about that. We got a lot of work to do, and today it started. I thought we worked really hard today, and we're intentional, and our walkthrough was great. And yeah, we are very intentional about not being fooled by being 8-1, and knowing that we've got a ton of things to improve on, and like I said, we have to.
I know you're appreciative of the chance, the Jared Goff chance during the game. Yesterday there was a serious situation in the Pistons game with Tim Hardaway Jr. Chance broke out again. And just like, what are your thoughts on those things breaking out at times like that?
I've got no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
This is a more so random question for me, but what relationship have you been able to build up with Davis Warren over at Michigan, and how have you helped mentor him?
Davis is awesome. I met him years ago. I might have been in high school. He was young at the late 11. Then I met him again when he was in high school, going through his stuff he went through in high school. And then I was out throwing with him years ago. We threw with the same trainer. And I was like, that kid's good. Who's that? And they're like, actually, he missed a year because of the leukemia, and now he's got to go to the prep school. And I'm like, shoot, man, whoever gets him is lucky to have him. And it's fun. I've texted back and forth with him. It's fun that we're both in the same state now, representing the teams we do. And yeah, I'm rooting for him. He's a good kid, and I root for him.
You mentioned how tough the Jaguars' defense can be, but you look at their last game, and it seemed like every drive that they played, it was either a field goal or a turnover that they'd force.
Yeah.
What do they do that gives offenses challenges?
Yeah, they had a great plan. They really did for Minnesota, and were able to create those turnovers and play really sticky man coverage most of the day. And yeah, they did a good job. Like I said, they've got really good players over there, and starting to put it together.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man.
Cool. Thank you.
Whenever you have to, pull back the reins and set one out.
I felt personally responsible for the first half of that game, and I'm not saying that jokingly. I felt really bad, even though I know it was in my best interest and the team's best interest to set that one out. Just when you're not out there with your guys, especially when it's guys that you've played with as much as I played with some of these guys on offense. Yeah, it's a guilty feeling. It really is. So as soon as you can get back out there, that's one thing that's going to drive you to want to be back out there is when you don't get to be.
How did that feeling shift after the game when the score flipped?
Of course, I want to see us win. I mean that's great, but it doesn't really change the fact that I wasn't out there with them, and that sucks. Not a good feeling. And again, I know it's just one game, and but they're all really meaningful. So yeah.
Maybe make you guys move forward.
I think obviously it's a beautiful thing that we were able to win that game when it seemed like the deck was stacked against us. I think it makes you go back and reflect, and this is easy for me to say as a guy who didn't play in the game, but let's not let winning overshadow us trying to improve or looking for areas to improve. And I don't think that's something that happened, because sometimes you go out there and you have stretches where you just don't play well, and it's not because of lack of preparation or lack of want to. But I think it just kind of can recalibrate you and make you kind of not take that for granted, the preparation.
Taylor, you guys have such a good thing going right now. Is there a balance between the competitive side of you wanting to be out there, but knowing you need to be out there in January, February more than week 10 against Jacksonville? Is there any fine line that you have to walk with that? I guess.
There's not a fine line I have to walk. I think that I leave that up to the medical staff, and I've told Brett and Mike since they've got there. If I'm being stupid, I need you to protect me from myself. And that's their job, and that's what they do. Because ultimately, if you leave it up to the player, 9 times out of 10 they're going to play even if they shouldn't. And every game's important to me. We only get to play 17, and all things are pointing to us being in the playoffs, of course. So I've had plenty of seasons where we don't get to. So every game's important to me, and I think, like I said, the biggest thing is when you're so used to being out there with your teammates and guys that you've played a lot of football with, when you're not out there, it's just a shitty feeling. It doesn't feel good. So you want to be out there, whether it's week 10 and you're mathematically eliminated, or if it's week 10 and you're rolling. It doesn't change my desire to be out there and play.
As an observer, you've kept a book on NFC rushers for a long time, NFC North rushers for a long time. You know Zadarius very well. What is this team getting in him?
Well, first and foremost, I've always just liked him as a person. He's always been just a cool guy. Not that I've talked at length with him, but just throughout the game and after the game, just saying what's up. I just liked him. And then as far as a rusher, I've always said he's got incredibly violent hands, and he was like that back when he was in Baltimore, and then we've obviously seen him for a while in our division here. Incredibly violent hands, powerful guy, and I think one thing is he's able to line up all across the field. You'll see him over the center, you'll see him over guards, and then tons of times you're going to be lining up one-on-one with a pass rush or offensive tackle. And then I think for him, he's kind of got some of that swagger, that confidence, because we got some young guys out there playing on the edge, and I think it was really cool. I stayed home for this past game, but seeing his engagement in the game on the broadcast, you can just tell he's super excited to be here, and I'm pumped to have him.
As an observer, how were you when Jake was lining up as the ball is delivered? Do you lean a little bit as the kick is there, or are you fully confident with his leg?
Oh, of course. We know he's got a big leg. It's almost like the farther back he is, the better he is. He wants to swing away at him, and we've seen him hit some bombs in practice and obviously in games at this point. Pretty incredible for him. Especially it was 2 kicks within 5 minutes of clock time. Big time. That's some big time stuff, and I think he's from the Houston area, I believe, so pretty incredible. I mean, that's a guy that's kind of got ice in his veins and steps up to the plate when we need him.
Were you nervous watching that? Like, were you trying to lead it one way or the other as you watched it on TV?
Well, I was in bed and my wife was asleep, so I was just kind of trying to stay still, be quiet. So I did wake her up and told her we won. So and she was like, "That's great," and went back to sleep.
The pass protection thing, just real quick. I don't think it's any major red flag or anything, but you guys have given up a few sacks, or Jared's taken a few hits the last few weeks. Is there what do you need to correct, I guess, in that area going forward? Collectively as a unit.
I mean, there's a combination of winning your one-on-ones. There's a combination of passing off games, and then it's always going to be an entire offensive thing. So we need to be able to give the quarterback time if we, excuse me, I was going to sneeze. We need to be able to give the quarterback time if we want the ball out, and we got to give him a good pocket to be able to work in, because even if maybe you're engaged with your guy, but you're too close to him, he can't get the ball out on time, or he's going to hit his hand on your helmet. So it's a whole offensive thing, but for us up front, overall not up to our standard for sure.
Thanks, Taylor. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Can you talk about the idea of what you already know being validated when you see a performance like what happened last week? I mean, you know this team is great. You know this team is fighting. To see it on display is got to be a gratifying feeling.
Yeah, it's always a good feeling to kind of climb out of that hole that we put ourselves in, and it's really just got to give it up to the defense. When they came out that second half, they really put the team on their shoulders, and we already know we can't have a performance like that in the first half, and we have to be better. Started with myself, and so moving forward, at least we know as a team, this year's team, that we can battle, and it doesn't matter how long or what it takes. We're going to do it.
How sharp does the approach get this week against Jacksonville at home?
It's just like any other week, to be honest. Nothing changes. We have to go in each and every week, and I think it starts with ourselves and the standard that we've created here, and just focusing on that each and every time we step into this building, and always striving to be great towards our goal.
There's a lot of times when teams are on a season drive, there's a little bit of magic that happens. Maybe we're starting to see that with you guys. Is there a sense that maybe there's momentum built? Because I know you look at it week by week, so it may be hard for you guys to judge it, but we kind of look at it as, oh man, 7 in a row.
I mean, I think it's kind of what you just said. The players in this building were really just day-to-day operation. So, but I think you can't ignore the fact that there is some type of momentum happening, So, but at the same time, we can't tune into that noise. So obviously, we're human and we can hear it. But I think what separates us and everyone else is just the ability to just tune out the noise and just come in each and every day like it's a new day and make the most of it.
Is that lockdown mentality just an extension of really what happens here every day?
Yeah, I believe so. And it starts with Campbell, with the team meetings, he sets the tone and let us know what battles on and off the field that we're going to be facing. And we just listen to him and go from there.
Speaking of battles on the field, just help me about tandem is Walker and Allen.
Oh man, anybody knows that those two guys are phenomenal talents. Just off the paper, you can see how big and strong those guys are. So, and then obviously when you watch the tape, they're physical players on both ends, and their athletic ability just makes it a challenge. So we know what type of challenge we have on the edges, and we just gotta do what we do.
Jared Goff, 4 years now, man. You see him throw 5 picks and still come out on top. What do you learn in a game like that? Do you learn anything more than him than even winning sometimes? I mean, even winning some of the blowout games sometimes, and when he fighting through adversity like a game like that?
Not really. I just knew what type of guy he is. That those things may happen, or you don't want it to happen, but he'll always bounce back. And it's not only just him; it's kind of like everybody in this locker room. Just like Campbell kind of said, when you're having an off day, you have a team like that to lean on, and everyone will be great. So nobody flinched, and especially not that guy.